Hello, everybody. Welcome to day 833. That's right, a almost symmetrical number. If it weren't for that damn eight at the beginning, but this is a very, very important day. After all, it is the 833rd time I'm eating paper. So buckle in because I'm about to take this stream super duper seriously. Without any further ado, let's get into it. I've been working on kind of layering and structuring the way I go about these streams a little differently. I'd come in, all cylinders firing off, guns blazing, but no one would be on stream. By the time people would go on, my real intro would be me kind of crapping out and drinking water, eating paper silently because I already said the most important sentence of that day, right? I mean, that's a problem. So I'm kind of saving everything I have to say, which so far is nothing, actually. My mind is completely blank. So one thing I wanted to discuss with a personal therapist, which because that's been delayed, the closest thing to a therapist is this computer with 0 viewers on it. But it's the idea of being understimulated. I've been through many scenarios where I got overstimulated, which is partially the reason I'm in this situation because I was not conducting myself properly at work because it was too loud and I was kind of losing my mind. But then there's the opposite issue where I have so little to do, and the reason this series is still going, if I were to be transparent and honest just for a fucking second, it's because I have a problem just going through a day of leisure and recreation with nothing left to do. If I don't do something somewhat difficult or challenging to my mental faculties, that for some reason kind of stimulates my synapses in a way that just gives me the satisfaction. I cannot apparently deal with a single day where I can be satisfied with doing nothing. And by nothing, I don't mean literally nothing. I can watch something, I could even go out and exercise, but if I'm not making some YouTube video that'll end up getting 2 views or doing some sort of thing where I'm putting myself out there on the internet, I will actually go bonkers and it will be a 2 out of 10 day or below, right? So we are dealing with a slight improvement on yesterday. All right. Above average day by a slight margin, 5.6. Hey, Ian, how's it going? You haven't been to the stream in a while. By that, I mean 2 days. So how's life changed for you? How long is your hair now? Also, give your score. That's my real question. You don't need to answer the hair question. We were talking about either being overstimulated or understimulated, right? Which is it's a very just me topic, but I actually think I like the second one less. You know, at least I come out of this giant evil smog cloud of overstimulation, knowing that I kind of at least tried to do something, right? But I mean, in 2022, the problem I had is like it's simultaneously easy and also hard in all the worst ways to just do nothing, right? So I'm just sat there, enjoying lying down on a very comfortable couch, especially if I have an injured leg. I like physically am trapped in a bit of a cage, right? I've gotten really good at overcoming that mental aspect of complacency through doing nothing, right? So I'm doing it a lot less. Like every day, I'm going outside, interacting with a stranger, doing something. Like even in 2020, because we were legally required by the government health people in their shiny lab coats to not interact with people, I just couldn't deal with that. So I had to at least one day go out to the local mall and just have random conversations. Didn't help that the internet was taken away, right? And all my main channel videos were privated and everyone thought it was gone forever, right? I mean, I was dealing with that crippling loss. It was like the end of Endgame, right? Or not Endgame, of Infinity War, right? The snap had happened and all my shit was gone. Had some good laughs with the Palace, though. Can't underrate that. That's good. That's very good. I'm really happy for you. But give your number, man. Start with the number and then, give your reasons from there. We don't have to structure it, but don't forget your number, man. Yeah, I appreciate the fact that you managed to gather with some friends, go, ho, 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 and then left. And that made you happy. I bet you're smiling right now. There we go. I did put the number. I don't see it. I don't know, man. Is it a 6.9? I can't, because maybe YouTube will just censor shit for no reason. 5, a flat 5, boring ass day. I'm happy to contribute to your boring day. We're going to make this the most uneventful stream ever. $6.1, huh? Not sure why YouTube would get rid of that. these tech companies, man, just their actions and their decisions are beyond me. I don't understand why they're doing the things they're doing. All I know is that it's making all of our lives worse. I'm like, seriously, if YouTube is the last bastion of just somewhat tolerable long form content, that's a bad sign, man. YouTube used to be the epoch of brain rot, but now just everything else is caught up and it's so overbearing. I watched this video, and yes, it's embarrassing to admit that I watch and enjoy Drew Gooden videos, but he had a really great PSA video recently. It's called Technology Isn't Fun Anymore. And I mean, what you see is what you get. I mean, that's exactly what he talks about in the video. He talks about how everything's trying so hard to be Instagram Reels or TikTok. I mean, even if you buy an app to turn a lamp off and on, right? You know, those like Bluetooth speakers where it comes with its own weird Taiwanese app that you have to purchase for $6 in order to have one light switch to turn a light on and off. They still have their own little miniature social media built into it. Everything's trying so hard to waste your time. It just makes me sad. You know, it's like, as a content creator myself, how am I to stand out when everyone is kind of in a zombified fashion following around? Like, because even these crappy pieces of social media built within a light switch app for $6 made in Taiwan, they're still managing to get traction. They still have hundreds of thousands of people at the very least watching their shit, actual AI generated garbage. So I don't know. It's because I really do want to be a content creator. I mean, I am, but like one that actually gets eyeballs, right? And I mean, my capabilities have remained the same for a little bit. Maybe I've gotten a little better at editing or talking without using racial slurs or whatever, which of course, wish we could go back to the golden days on that one. But I mean, what I'm saying is that there are changes that happen when it comes to my what I can do, but my skills and my general appeal has remained the same. And yet the landscape of digital media has changed so much. And none of those changes are good. So I was excited for TikTok to exactly. And I mean, the reason why TikTok is still managing to get a good deal is because they have the motivation to, because there are so many pissed off people. And they're like, TikTok is the voice of the people. And I'm like, I don't know about that. It's one of the most algorithmically overly filtered pieces of social media I have ever seen. Like, I'm really glad that a couple of you leftists are, you know, feeling like as individuals, you are getting a platform, but there are lots of perspectives that their terms of service will just get rid of, you know. It is basically a children's entertainment app that is now platforming the most insane political takes I've ever seen. And I'm also take this at face value too, because I log on and I sometimes see 20-something-year-old Starbucks girls ranting angrily about how they want to actually incite violence against a Republican senator, and I swipe up on that, and I just see the most annoying Charlie Kirk Instagram video or TikTok video I've ever seen in my life. It's all of it. All of it's bullshit. It's that thing that Twitter started doing, right? Where they start baiting engagement because they just have an outrageous tweet that's just supposed to piss you off. After a while, just opening up TikTok or Instagram or YouTube or Twitter, and just the first thing you see is something that makes you go, "What? How are there so many people liking this and agreeing with this?" And then you're desperately scrolling in the replies for the person who agrees with you, going, yeah, ratio, that was ridiculous." That process is actually destroying my brain cells, you know, and I'm ashamed that I'm even buying into it. So, oh, thank you, Slime Thugger, hard R right there. But yeah, Mr. Thugger, uh, I appreciate your appreciation for my service. What can I say? You know, just like the Marines in a big pit of mud, we trudge on. Um, brainless, repetitive activities. It's what the Marines excelled in. That's what I excel in. You know. So, Dad, I don't need to go to the army. I already got the faculties to do this. I'm glad you guys appreciated that. It's not even a joke. It's just some abstract thing. It's just, I don't even know what I'm saying during stream of consciousness, but you know, facts, you go the determination down. Yes, exactly. This is what I'm talking about. I remember we had a very engaging and extremely abstract conversation yesterday about my estrogen levels being raised by paper, and I gave him facts and logic that is Target paper, and that's the discounted cheap garbage. This is Staples paper. That's maximum value, most bang for your buck. Even though it's more bucks, it's a hell of a lot more bang because they actually incorporate certain fibrous materials in here, as well as bleach, which increases testosterone level. Don't look it up, but it's totally true. Holy Cope, he says, hey, listen, man, I came in with studies, ingredients, specific bullet pointed lists. All you've got is your slightly funny username and a couple of TikTok phrases you've copy and pasted from your favorite little snippets of brain rot media. Holy Cope, I don't know. Look in a mirror. But I agree. I agree. Monkey type shit. You still engage. You still care about the subject of estrogen intake. But I assure you, I have a team of scientists working right behind me, and we've made absolute certain that I'm intaking as little estrogen as possible. My live chat already helps out with that one, so we're trying to counteract that with the testosterone laced paper. Get some of your own. Get some down at Staples. That's the best paper you can get. Who's texting me? Concentra, your employer requests you register online for fast checking out your upcoming visit. Yeah, that totally looks legit. That's great. I'm glad that we can turn this into the two-way Comedy Central roast hour every single time. The worst Comedy Central roast hour ever. Between you and I, it's good. Sling more at me, and my trebuchet will fling some back. I didn't even finish reading Ian 30's thing. I was excited for TikTok to go away because I thought that would mean some new social media app was going to come about that brought something new to the table, but I guess not. Yeah, it's just with something as huge as TikTok that has just a group of people as irrational as the TikTok Gen Z group, 20-something-year-old freaked out Starbucks people, you will never successfully take it down. The government can go as hard as they want, but I truly believe, I mean, even with the fact that they were defecting to that Chinese, what is it called? Redbubble. And then immediately the longtime regulars on the app got so pissed off and they already hated that particular group of people that they just started posting racist shit there on purpose. I mean, come on. That's the story of the year. I love that story. But yeah, it was a red note. Yeah, Redbubble is the pro-Republican employment when people were actually getting rejected by their employers because they happened to be Trump voters or Republican, and Redbubble was reciprocal to that, where it's like, here, we're going to employ people regardless of their political affiliation. That was cool. That's why I follow them, I think, unless I'm thinking of some other platform or group with the word red in their name. But yeah, Red Note. It's so funny how when you see two worlds coalesce and one has been fangirling over the other and then they actually combine, right? I mean, there's a lot of specific TikTok accounts that I've seen, maybe clipped out of context, but it is a real faction of people that are really pro Mao's Little Red Book. But then when you see them go, oh, you guys, I totally respect your culture. None of them like them. It's like, you had the pro-Fidel Castro groups, these little underground factions that would be like, Fidel Castro, he's handsome and he wasn't barking up the wrong tree. But then you had all the actual, and it was also this weird hard-on for Cuban culture. It's like they thought that was one and the same when those two were in opposition against each other. So then you have in America, the Cubans, and they're like, trust me, Fidel Castro, so king. And remember, I'm not talking about recently. Like, yeah, that people know that people understand much more now than back then the divide between the Cubans who left and those who were pro-Castro. And most of those who were truly Cuban and pro-Castro were getting some sort of thing from their government and were already high up. They weren't even representative of the citizens. But now I'm just seeing like a kind of similar thing where it's like it's people that are like, yeah, I respect Asian culture. Mao's Little Red Book. Now that's Asian culture. It's not exactly what they're saying, but it's like you don't understand how it works. And then people go over to this Red Note app and all the Chinese there just fucking hate them. And then they're going, wow, that was racist. And then when you see the responses the TikTok crowd has in response to the Chinese who hate them, they're not doing the same thing that they used to, especially with the white male conservatives, where they're going, yeah, another white male saying this and that and the other thing. Ugh, par for the course. They're like, wow, I'm actually legitimately shocked that we came over and these Chinese guys hated us. How could they hate us? That's what I'm seeing. Maybe there's some other shit where maybe people were going about it in a less dumbass way when they went over there and then saw the shit that they saw. But I've seen many different individual anecdotal scenarios. Let me just disclaim what I'm saying here by saying that. But I'm just seeing what? We never saw this coming. I thought Red Note had two servers, one for Chinese and one for us. It's not how I saw it. I mean, maybe they did, but even if they did, Do you think that every single American's just gonna like? I think they tried to do that. And it might have been a response, but again, a lot of the people on TikTok are like, "That's segregation, and we don't like that." Let's see what the Chinese are saying. I bet they're saying something totally cultured and normal. Excuse me, by the way. Um, but I wish I went more into that because around the time when that was happening, I was just dealing with just how annoying and oversaturated social media was. So I was just staying as far away from that anyway. So I probably didn't see enough of a sample size of those interactions to have a concrete statement. So I probably possibly 56% chance sound like a dumbass right now, but you know, you chose peace, Mr. Shit. Wait, what the fuck is this? Why am I stop? Sorry. My computer's bugging out. I'm like trying to click so I can pin your message, and then the Notes app comes in and literally jumps in front of my cursor. What the fuck are we doing right now, Apple? Okay, there we go. Pinned. Just to pin that up there, just so the contract of the truce is there for all to see. We can shake on it, all right? Pretend this is your hand. You got a fucked up hand, my friend. You got two right hands. Yeah. Unless I'm misinterpreting. When you say, nah, I chose peace, I assume that means that was in response to me talking about us roasting each other. You choose peace. I mean, it's fun. It's fun to go at each other's throats. I mean, I can't. It's kind of unfair because I don't know anything about you, and I mean, you probably have seen these streams at least more than 3. So there's more information on me for you to target than me. But I'll try my best. Yeah, pause. I'm not even gonna try to. I don't know what that means, but thank you. You're feel free to pause the stream anytime you want. All right, let's finish this stream and the paper up. This is how much we got left. But yeah, no, that's always an interesting subject that I know very little about. That's always fun to be like, here's my concrete statement that I am immediately going to retract because I realize now I don't know enough about it. But hey, that's just from what I saw, and it was very funny, very very funny. Like, I mean, I'm not even going to speak on a with a data mindset. I'm just going to say my experience just seeing the 2 stories, even if those are the only 2 instances of this ever happening ever, the fact that it happened at all is so fucking funny because I know the personalities. I know that particular archetype of those very top popular TikTok people who get lots of clicks because they really tap into this really annoying mindset that a bunch of like-minded people are like, yes, what a queen. She is saying this extremely reductive point of view that means basically nothing. I would give specific examples, but I'm sure most people watching this can already think of examples themselves because these kids are everywhere. Yeah. Is there some yelling upstairs? Calm down, mom. Calm down, dad. Keep telling them don't yell at each other in the middle of a paper stream. It's possible that it's I'm hearing things. When I was sleeping last night, it was weird. I was in this state of like lucid dreaming, I guess, where it wasn't sleep paralysis. Or I was thinking maybe those who are in sleep paralysis just don't have strong enough of a will. But again, that's extremely egotistical assumption of me to make. But it was weird because it did feel like sleep paralysis, but I woke myself up on my own terms. Every time I've heard of somebody going through sleep paralysis, they are unable to wake up or move no matter how hard they try. But it's weird because I was aware that I was kind of in a state of half sleep. And I was like, because the only white noise I had on at that moment was my fan that's always on anyways, my little rotating fan. And I was like, I was just imagining this thought in my head. It wasn't me trying to conjure it to happen. It wasn't me commanding the fan to come closer. But it's like, what if the sound of the fan got louder and louder in my ears? My eyes were closed. This was at 2:00 in the morning, by the way. If you want to know the dark circles under my eyes, they're real. No makeup. But I'm telling you, the noise of the fan was getting louder and louder and louder as I was thinking about it getting louder and louder. It's like I made it happen. And it sounded literally like my fan was becoming sentient and creeping up to my bed, about to fucking attack me. And then I opened my eyes, like literally slapped myself awake and blink all the way back down to normal volume level. And then I started imagining a bunch of, it was weird. It was like It's just that weird state of sleep where you're kind of half asleep. And in order to make myself fall asleep, you know how in the 1990s they started these computer animation things where they would scan the waveforms of music and then kind of generate a visualizer for it, where you would have a bunch of little computer animations of random shapes kind of going into it. I feel like I kind of have a much more interesting version of that, where I feel like everybody has this, where you go to sleep and you're just imagining things or ideas or like visual things, and it's kind of like counting sheep, right? It's just watching move or imagining a moving object or thinking of it in some sort of way. Mm. I'm not making it tomorrow. Watch me, bitch. I'm gonna make it to at least day 850 before my liver starts working, or before my liver stops working. Yeah, my liver's just gonna start in day 850. Can't wait. Yeah, I do that too. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just impossible to try and describe it, so most people don't even try, and I'm failing too. But like, that's my attempt. You know what I'm talking about. But yeah, it was weird. It's weird how your brain just kind of puts sounds in. It's probably because when I don't have any, normally I have music playing. I have this Bill Evans album I have on a loop normally. It's a great sleep album. From Left to Right, 1971. Great, 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 great album. Would play it, but that would probably get this stream banned forever. Bill Evans has some weird copyright rules surrounding his music. That's not him, that's his estate. So fuck those guys. But whoa, that was crazy. Yeah, it was mighty strange. I was like, I'm hearing these sounds. I'm hearing like these weird scratching sounds. I'm like, is that inside the fan? The only noise I'm hearing is the fan, or maybe the bathroom short, like a couple feet outside my bedroom door. Maybe someone's in there. Maybe a raccoon snuck into the toilet or something. But then I wake myself up and I'm listening for these sounds that for the last like 20 minutes, I feel like I've been hearing every 5 seconds, and it's not there, and it never was there. It's all in my head. It's just the fan at normal volume level. Mildly scary. It was almost kind of scary dream, but not really. So this would take a long ass time for me to talk about, but there's another thing I've noticed during a dream. People talked about the black and white dream epidemic of the 20th century, where it exposed the fact that there is no color in dreams. There is not even a lack of color. Dreams are just these abstract thoughts that don't have any visual stimuli. It's just like when you try to remember them, your brain only understands things through a combination of sight and sound. That's not what dreams are. They're not actual responses to stimuli. So you're kind of creating this internal stimuli to kind of visualize what these ideas in your head were, which is why your memory often changes what even is visually in a dream, because there is no visuals in a dream. It's just these abstract ideas that don't come from the outside world. They're coming from in here. So people were reporting, especially people who watched a lot of black and white television, because television was black and white at the time, they were reporting that all of their dreams was coming out in black and white. And then when sepia progressed into color television, they reported through this giant worldwide survey, nobody was having black and white dreams anymore. Very interesting stuff. But it was also me thinking, what are limitations to what I can see? The eye does have a very high but still finite resolution. So there's a certain amount that I can squint, and a certain detail that's far away, I will not be able to see it anymore. If I'm awake, there is only like a detail can only be so far away before I stop seeing it. Imagination, which is how dreams work, doesn't exactly work like that. I sometimes have these extremely surreal dreams where it's this sense of dread regarding size, like gigantism, where I'm imagining seeing something and I'm not zooming in, I'm seeing the whole object, but it appears super huge because I'm imagining every single atom inside of there. And now, obviously, I don't think it's to scale, but I'm just imagining a huge object with so many parts. And what's so fucking surreal is I think my brain is imagining an experience that my eyes and even my brain itself can't even possibly comprehend. Because what I'm imagining is a huge object that I am simultaneously seeing each atom of, while also not zooming in and seeing the whole object. It's so weird, and I can't even begin to describe the sensation that it is, but I will be in a state of half sleep, like drifting away, and it'll be keeping me awake. It'll be keeping me in this limbo. I'm going to be imagining because in my opinion, I think that like people don't try to describe these and it's otherworldly. And that's probably why in the 15th century you had people writing about them having their cocks touched by God, but really it's just their imagination doing shit and creating stuff internally that externally is impossible. So does imagination have a resolution? Your eye has a resolution. It's very high, but there's a finite level of pixels or detail your eyeballs can pick up that then go to your brain. But if something is imagined internally in your brain, especially in a state of sleep, when your brain is kind of given free rein, does your imagination have a resolution? Does your imagination have a certain limit of detail? I don't think so. And that's what's really fucking fascinating. So I'm imagining these huge objects and I'm looking at it from a normal point of view. I'm seeing the whole object. I'm not going closer to it. I'm seeing the whole object, but at the same time, I see every single quark and atom and molecule that comprises it. And it gives me that sense of scale, a sense of scale that nothing that can be intaken through these things could ever replicate, only in my head. And I can only abstractly describe it. It's an insane experience, and I don't know how to describe it. It is otherworldly, and I think that taps into a very cool part of our imagination. Our imagination has no resolution. There is no ceiling. The sky ain't even the limit. There ain't no fucking limit to what we can imagine. I gotta go. It's 1 a.m. here. Interesting shit. Thank you. I appreciate it. I haven't heard that story. I'm serious. I want to continue talking about. It's just so hard to talk about because to even describe what I'm talking, it's like very difficult. You get it. But hey, thank you, monkey type shit. This is the last piece, so I'm amazed you're still even here. But shout out Ian30, Slime Thugger, and monkey type shit. A little bit of a small crew of watchers today, but I value all of you all the same. Thank you for engaging with me, listening to me, throwing proverbial rotten tomatoes at my head, even if it's negative, even if you came to roast me or cyber bully, that's all good. Helps me kind of get attuned to the world. In order to really appreciate the world as it is, we have to experience everything, not just the good and not just the bad. All of it together makes us whole, makes us people of substance, not flighty, untouched children. When we experience the world in an unfiltered way, we know both the good and the bad. We know the world. That's how we truly know the world. And when we know the world is ours. There you go. That's a quote. It's a quote from my favorite movie. I fucked it up kind of in the middle, but it's fine. It's been a while since I quoted that movie. You're really good with the speaking shit. Thanks for ignoring the fact that I literally stuttered in the middle of the essential sentence. You should get into politics. Already am. Came back from my argumentation class. Also, I'm running for president at Toastmasters, which is a very political thing to do. It's gonna be me trying to practice all the abilities of manipulating the masses through speech and seeing if I can actually, in practice, use it. But thank you. I appreciate the compliment. Coming from you, man, that rocks. I appreciate it. I'll try. I'll try to get into the most political, feasible position I can. Running for president. What can I say? Hopefully nobody watches that. Damn, still live. Yep, dedicated. This is a great stream, by the way. We were able to discuss some pretty abstract things. Which, Ian, this is totally my fault. Let me preface this by saying it's totally my fault. But the crew reunited. Caden, Avery, and Leonard, they reunited and they FaceTimed me at 11 o'clock at night. And this was right after I fucked my knee up again. So not only was I not in the right headspace, but they also just do this thing where it's like, come on, bro, say something funny. And it's like, man, I can't. It doesn't allow for me to even get into any subjects, but it's also up to me as the person who is, I guess, being looked to have most of the speaking space. And apparently, to this day, the most social power within that particular group of people to kind of dictate where it goes. And I didn't do any of that. I was just like, okay, we're just going to meander. And so we meandered, and it was really boring. So that's the last and Caden was just sitting there lying on his bed with his belly button exposed, saying nothing, driving me fucking insane. So next time, I'm going to actually be a serious man, and I'm not going to be a joke machine. I'm done with that. I don't know if that's what that was. I don't know, man. It's kind of the combination of let's have Brian try and be a lolcow, but also let's try and be nonchalant about it. It's a combo that doesn't work, but none of that's anybody's fault. Not Leonard's fault, not Avery's fault, not even Caden's fault. Mostly my fault because I have the ability to kind of steer it in a different direction. And as would happen on many of these paper streams, it wouldn't. I would just be like, okay, dabbing emojis, fine. I guess we're doing this. I'll just buy into that and I'll try and make some commentary on the dabbing emojis. You know, it's not in my nature to do stuff like that. So I kind of might be a little boring and a bit of a hard ass. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to ignore your dabbing emojis, but it is what it is. Especially if I want to be president of Toastmasters, we got to step up to the plate. All right. We got to get leadership mindset. Also, do not tell anybody that I'm running for president of Toastmasters. That was supposed to be a secret between me and the previous president. And by the way, the current president of Toastmasters is looking to have me as a successor, which is really cool of him. I'm doing a lot of research into what I guess, what pertains to the actual role, and I'm quite excited. It's going to be a good time, but we're keeping it under wraps. So I'm actually being a bit of an idiot right now by speaking about it publicly, but it's okay. It's not the biggest deal because I think shortly, in fact, it was already kind of obvious to everybody that I'm looking towards bigger leadership positions. So it won't be the biggest deal, but it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun revealing that I'm the candidate. So just don't tell anybody, all right? Between you guys and me, nobody watches these. So it's basically a private stream. Shh. What happens on the paper stream stays on the paper stream. Thank you very much for watching day 833. I will see you tomorrow. That'll be day 834. Can I tell my mom? Yeah, that's fine. That's okay. Get her to come to Toastmasters. She'll sign an NDA. I have a bunch of those actually in my garage from the 2019 days. And so Fire and Lightning and Ian 30 monkey type shit, Slime Thugger, all four of you, I wanted to say thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming, engaging, disengaging, and coming again. Make sure to live, laugh, cry, and also not die. And until next time, this is goodbye. And you can tell your mom too, Mr. Shit. I will see you all tomorrow. Goodbye.